Okay. Back in the saddle. And holy shit, I have a lot to do. I'm actually, I mean, I'm sort of hitting that point now, where I'm feeling a little bit overwhelmed. But that is not necessarily a bad thing. I hit this point in just about every, like, sort of big open worldy kind of RPG game where, there's a ton of stuff to do, and I'm kind of through the more linear first part of the game, and now I'm sort of into the part of the game where it's like, well, okay, now what? Um and I'm like, well, I have 5 more points. Three more points. Well, let's just boost to Nova then. That's fine. But I think I have an idea of what I want to do. Okay, let's look at Drac, though. Blood Rage. Drac becomes a raging force of nature, wading into battle with increased melee damage, damage reduction, and health regen. He also has Incinerate, which is nice. Fires a projectile of contained plasma that inflicts ongoing burning damage to its target with bonus damage to armor. Burning enemies are primed for combo detonations. Shielded enemies are unaffected. And his passives are Krogan Warrior, which is increased shotgun damage and increased shotgun force, and his defensive passive is base max health, health and shield regen delay reduction, and health regen. And I've got 10 points. Well, I'm going to at least give him Incinerate, because that's a good one. And I think, let's go ahead and give him his defensive passive. Let's do recharge speed on Blood Rage. I mean, yeah, I like passives in general. Like, I just do. Well, I guess we'll just give him another boost to Blood Rage. Armor Smasher. Damage versus armor 20%. Sure. Okay, good. And I need to spec out PB. What do you have, PB? You have Invasion, which is attack power. So she hacks hard suits, infecting them with an invasive VI that weakens the enemy defenses. So it's a debuff, basically. It also does a little bit of damage. You also have Pull, which is a nice biotic power. Yanks things off the ground, pulls them towards you, and it's a primer. So I'm definitely gonna give her Pull, and also boosts his recharge speed. That's fine. Duelist is her offensive passive, weapon damage and weapon force. I like Survivalist. Let's do that. I guess. That looks okay. For now. Okay. Codex. Codex. There's a lot of Codex. Let's look at... Let's just start at the bottom and work our way up. I think that works. That sounds good. Let's see. Arc Parchero is the Andromeda Initiative's designated vessel for transporting Solarian colonists to the new galaxy. Mirroring the design of its human counterpart, Hyperion, Arc Parchero can accommodate 20,000 passengers and crew in cryogenic stasis. Parchero's development was plagued by early delays and disagreements between its senior crew and the initiative's design team. The Solarian penchant for constantly pushing the boundaries of technology was often at odds with the realities of budgets and time constraints. At one point, it was calculated that if every vital and necessary improvement suggested by the Solarian contingent was incorporated into the Parchero's design, its launch would have been delayed until 2204 at the soonest. After considerable negotiation and debate, a compromise was reached, and Ark Parchero departed the Milky Way in 2185 in the initial wave of settlers under the command of Captain Lumont Hager. Okay. Here's one on the Nomad. Seeking a suitable scout rover, the Andromeda Initiative purchased a promising but rejected design from the Systems Alliance military. The issue quickly became apparent. On rough terrain, without the bracing of heavy armor, the chassis was prone to twist. The initiative had already developed lightweight but strong memory alloys which solved this problem. The resulting ND-1 Nomad exchanges heavy armaments for superior agility. The rover has a tripartite element 0 core, which allows fine control over acceleration and a more modest helium-3 fuel cost for its microthrusters. Its lighter weight enables both 6-wheel drive and 4-wheel drive, and 4-wheel steering for hazardous surfaces. Fitting the initiative's adaptive philosophy, the Nomad can be customized with appropriate camouflage or initiative colors. When necessary during long-haul exploration, the rover contains an emergency shelter. It can produce potable water from its hydrogen-oxygen fuel cells, though scientists recommend adding a flavor pack to it first. Okay. Well, let's read about the Tempest, our ship, which is really awesome. The Tempest is a survey ship designed for long-range, long-term exploration under a Pathfinder's command. Its lightweight and efficient design allow it to operate with a small crew and minimal resources. Built by the Andromeda Initiative, the Tempest makes use of several once proprietary technologies, including an IES stealth system originally developed by the Systems Alliance. Many of these systems were permitted on the condition that the Tempest only operate in the Andromeda Galaxy. So basically, yeah, we had to literally leave the galaxy just to use the Tempest. The Tempest engine is a variation on the Ark's Odyssey drives that allows long-term operation, capturing a percentage of the static buildup in capacitors. The recycled electrical charge powers several of the Tempest's onboard systems. As a Pathfinder vessel, the Tempest has research and development facilities, laboratories, and a well-appointed meeting space to accommodate dignitaries anticipating any potential first contact scenarios. Okay. Ark Lucinia. Constructed in orbit around Piares in the Asari home system Parnitha, Ark Lucinia is named after a kingdom of wealth and learning in Asari mythology. She is built to the same specifications as her sister Ark Hyperion, with internal modifications to accommodate Asari social preferences, and captained by Alonis Atandra. The Andromeda Initiative was initially rejected as a human-driven boondoggle by many Asari investors, and the construction of the Lucinia was met with ridicule. However, the efforts drew the attention of several matriarchs who had assisted in previous attempts to send crewed missions to Andromeda, and their impassioned extranet addresses helped turn the tide of public opinion. At her departure ceremony, Ark Lucinia was officially blessed by the Atamna Politeia, an organization of Ciarist high priestesses from across the Asari republics. Ark Lucinia traveled to the Initiative rendezvous point in 2184 and left the Milky Way as part of the initial departure wave in 2185. Alright. The Tempest required a number of experimental technologies to accommodate the unique requirements of a Pathfinder team. Its planetary surface imaging, for example, uses photosensitive and radar-lidar emitting microsatellites that coordinate with the Tempest's router back to SAM node. I then conduct simulated scientific and probability studies on the data before presenting the Pathfinder with a summarized analysis, typically in 0.5 seconds. The Tempest computer network presented interesting challenges. As most Milky Way computer systems have anti-AI safeguards built in, the Tempest network had to be designed from scratch to accommodate my interaction with the ship's systems. Firmware bridges inspired by studies into Geth networking technology allow me to temporarily interact with and augment sensors, communications, and the ship's navigation array. Given the desire to reduce mass without sacrificing safety, the electrical charge from the Tempest's capacitors is used to keep the ship stable via prototype piezoelectric vibration reduction, or PVR technology. When the ship's superstructure is bent by vibrations, such as during atmospheric re-entry or complex flight maneuvers, piezoelectric elements receive an electrical charge that bends bulkheads in the opposing direction, reducing vibrations and smoothing the ship's flight path. Okay. Also, of note, as you probably realized, Sam is actually the writer of most of the Codex entries. Maybe, I don't know that he's the writer of all of them, but Sam is definitely the author of most of the in-universe Codex. Pathfinders are often the first to encounter new potential threats or valuable technology. The Tempest is therefore equipped for sophisticated research and development in the field to support a fast turnaround of any necessary upgrades or analysis. Its research center syncs with the tech lab systems, giving insight into the capabilities of new materials and their potential applications. My connection to Arch-Hyperion and the Nexus allows me to transfer data and latest discoveries from the scientists stationed there. Quantum computing enables multiple complex simulations to be run simultaneously, and new components or configurations can be tested virtually before they are built. Stealth systems, yeah, the IES, which we know about because it's the same kind of stealth system, I believe, that the Normandy had. Arc Natanus is the Turian Arc. Like most economical ventures, Turian investors were turned onto the Andromeda initiative by their clients, the Volus. The Turian hierarchy was intentionally kept in the dark to keep the initiative a private civilian project. Yeah, because the Turian government is military. There's no separating the two. So that makes sense. We have laboratories and, of course, the Arch-Hyperion. Great. Yeah, okay, the scanner, field repurposing, jump jets, consumable resources, omni tools. Good, good. I know about those. Yeah. Good, good. That's pretty basic stuff that I'm not gonna worry about. Oh, God, I keep hitting the console button. It's a pain in the butt. Settling Helios. Yeah, we were in cryogenic stasis, of course. I mean, most of this stuff is from the original trilogy, so I'm not going to worry too much about that. Right, Habitat 7. The planet known as Habitat 7 was one of the Golden Worlds selected by the Andromeda Initiative for early settlement. Signs pointed to a lush and biologically diverse tropical region that could easily support an outpost. With no communications from the Nexus or sister arcs upon arrival in the Helios cluster, the Hyperion approached Habitat 7 to begin survey and settlement operations as soon as possible, but even visual assessments showed that the planet was no longer viable. Yeah, that happened. So the Scourge, right. The Scourge is the colloquial term for a huge and extremely dangerous interstellar phenomenon sighted across much of the Helios cluster. It appears to be a cloud spreading in tendrils that affect planets and surrounding space, destroying starships that attempt to pass through or near it. Early study of the Scourge has been difficult, and it does not match any previously known stellar body, leading to many wild theories about its nature. Given the problems in observation and the Scourge's unaccounted effects on gravity, some have even suggested it is a dark energy phenomenon in the literal sense, meaning a form of energy that has no electromagnetic interaction and thus cannot be detected, hence dark, yet has strong negative pressure, causing expansive effects on a cosmic scale. Though the Scourge's characteristics don't match our current understanding of dark energy, these theories persist while further observations are taken. The Scourge is aggressively drawn to remnant structures on planets, though the cause of the attraction is not yet fully understood. This manifests as further tendrils of dust and radioactive particulates that cling to the surface of remnant technology and interfere with its operations. Either this matter was left behind after the planet in question passed through the Scourge itself, or even distant interactions with remnant technology can cause the Scourge to coalesce spontaneously. In either case, even this minor manifestation of the Scourge demands additional caution when approaching remnant sites. No long-range data showed any sign of the Scourge before departure to the Helios cluster. Nexus scientists suggest it must have appeared in the intervening centuries while the arcs traveled to Andromeda. Interesting. One of the Scourge's more interesting characteristics is that it appears artificial. Its origin point is yet to be determined, but the pattern of the tendrils and the composition of the cloud could not have been caused by any celestial event known to astrophysics. Investigations are ongoing, though slowed by the deadly conditions created by the Scourge. Yeah. Andromeda Galaxy, there's just some basic info on that. So habitat 1/EOS. So this is telling us that we got to the point where we have an outpost now, which is great. I love outposts. Ket. Yeah, all hostile. And they're very interested in the stuff. Sorry, the dog's being bad. Anyway, so the Anointed are the guys with shields and frickin' machine guns, barrage, yeah. Plasma cannons, it sucks. The Chosen are the cannon fodder. The Wraiths are those dogs that cloak. What do we got here? Right. Oh. Mantas. Yeah, those things we saw flying in the sky in Habitat 7. Interesting. The Nexus scientists believe it may have originally evolved on a world with heavy deposits of element 0, giving it the ability to lower its mass enough to swim through the air. Expanding the muscular gas bladders on its underside allows the creature to rise and orient itself in flight. Despite its size, roughly 30 meters, the manta is not a threat to outposts or explorers. It appears to subsist on mineral deposits from rock formations, wrapping itself around rock spires or even against cliff faces to remain camouflaged while it feeds. Their camouflage ability suggests that these mantas have predators or other reasons to remain hidden, but thus far the reasons remain unclear. I'm a little scared to learn what might want to eat a manta. Because those are pretty big. Yeesh. Yeah, the glyph things. This is interesting, though. It is not clear whether remnant technology is designed to be activated by an AI. There's no evidence of artificial intelligence in the remnant structures investigated thus far, and remnant bots have only rudimentary programming. So the remnant are all apparently artificial, right? So they were built. They're robots. They're mechanical. They don't appear to be an artificial intelligence, though. Like, whatever the remnant are, they're not necessarily hostile. They seem to just be, like, programmed, you know, like, they're just computers that are sort of programmed to fight, almost like mechs. So they're less like the Geth and more like mechs. Don't really know who made them, yeah. An artificial creation must have a creator, but there is scant evidence of whomever created the remnant. I have consulted the Nexus scientists, scans obtained by PB on the condition that I not rearrange her data, and records of your own investigation, but my conclusions remain speculation. We can be certain that the remnant builders are several orders of sophistication above the initiative's technology. Interlinked cluster-wide planetary engineering is beyond the logistics or budget of any known species. The energy requirements alone suggest a Type 1 civilization on the Kardashev scale. On a cultural level, the builders must have been intelligent and capable of large-scale cooperation. The proportions of the vaults and devices found suggest a species with similar physical traits to humans, but with no genetic evidence left behind. Their appearance, along with their motivations, remain a mystery. So these are the enemies, breachers. The decryption, yeah, stuff. Trying to give an in-universe explanation for the Sudoku puzzle. Assembler, the remnant in general, and observers. Okay. Okay. Arc species. I think we know about the arc species here. History. If you don't know about Asari or Solarians or Turians, if you're not, like, aware, you can always feel free to ask me. And I will talk about, like, stuff like this. Like, this really basic kind of world-building stuff that is carried over from the original trilogy. I'm happy to sort of talk it out. I don't think I need to go through it again, though, because I am pretty well familiar with it by now, quite frankly. Like, oh, look, there's Garrus. That's a picture of Garrus. This stuff is kind of this stuff is new, though. This is new to Andromeda. So here's the really interesting stuff, the squadmate codices. PB describes herself freely as the foremost Milky Way expert on the Remnant and their technology. It is difficult to verify her qualifications for this, as many Nexus personnel records have been lost. DNA and fingerprint matches give the name Pelisaria Basail, although according to the revival schedule, that individual should still be in stasis. Interesting. PB's only comment is, nothing like getting a head start. Piecing together information from Eos and the Nexus, PB was born on the planet Haitiana in the Milky Way. After voyaging to Andromeda on the Nexus, she left the station some months ago to explore the Helios cluster alone and became fascinated by the Remnant. She has classified and dismantled several types of Remnant bot, but she prefers to keep her findings private for now. Psychologically, PB demonstrates both extremely high intelligence and hyper-individualism. Her restlessness is typical of many Asari in their maiden phase of life, though few go so far as to visit another galaxy. Yeah, fair enough. Callow. Callow Jath was born on Serkesh and, quoting directly, into a life so boring even you couldn't calculate it. Pushed towards a lucrative but dull bureaucratic career with Parahi Aerospace, Callow became more interested in flying the starships he was meant to be cataloging. He eventually left Serkesh for formal pilot training and joined Parahi's competitor as a test pilot. Internal emails show that when the Andromeda Initiative was building teams to develop their survey vessels, Parahi Aerospace warned against recruiting Callow, so fervently that Jean Garson's interest was piqued. Callow claims that the prospect of the initiative was intriguing enough to make him join the Tempest design team, test flying her early prototypes, running stress tests in regions like the Nemean Abyss, and, rumor has it, helping to acquire advanced technology. Callow has an acute photographic memory, even by Solarian standards. This may be linked to his unusual motor responses, though he discourages my speculation. I probably would too, Sam. Vetra. The Andromeda Initiative's records on Vetra Nix are sparse. She states that she is from Palaven, but has also disclosed that she is not recognized as a formal citizen of Turian society, never having entered boot camp. That's really interesting. It appears she left Palaven at an early age and spent most of her life in the outer reaches of Council space, never settling down in one place. Why? How did that happen? Why did she never go through boot camp? That's weird. Vetra is a mystery, and I cannot wait to solve her. Vetra was recruited into the initiative by Nakmor Kesh, who lists her as a business associate and recommended her on the basis of her street smarts, adaptability, and familiarity with most weapons. Vetra's only other recorded family is her sister, Sideranix, who accompanied Vetra on the journey to Andromeda on board the Nexus. A footnote in Vetra's file indicates that she may have been part of an unnamed mercenary band that was hired to steal sensitive military secrets from a base on Menai. The culprits were never caught. Interesting. Gil Brody. Technical Officer Gil Brody is chief engineer aboard the Tempest. After traveling to Andromeda aboard the Nexus, records show that Gil was woken from stasis roughly a year ago to assist with construction efforts before prepping the Tempest itself. There are no records of Gil's early life. He explains he was an undocumented street kid from one of Earth's megalopolis cities. Though unschooled, Gil likely showed a remarkable aptitude for mathematics and spatial reasoning, since at 10 he often broke into a local scrapyard to dismantle and repair destroyed shuttle engines. In time, he was caught and sentenced to a steady job. Gil's mechanical expertise eventually drew him off-world to numerous colonies across the Milky Way. His unconventional work drew the attention of Vetra Nix, who agrees she was always on the lookout for new contacts. Vetra claims she persuaded Gil to join the initiative. Gil claims he won Vetra's initiative clearance in a poker game and exchanged it for a guaranteed seat along with his friend Jill. He remains an invaluable member of the Tempest crew. Cute. Lexi Tapero. Although young by Asari standards, Lexi Tapero is regarded as one of the most skilled doctors in the Andromeda Initiative. Born on the crime-ridden space station Omega, Lexi began her medical career by stitching up her father, a Turian bouncer at the Afterlife nightclub where her mother was also employed as a dancer. In her screening interviews, Lexi states her parents' dream was for her to get off this rock and live a life worth talking about. Following her parents' wishes, Lexi left Omega to continue studying medicine as well as psychology on the Citadel, where she eventually met Harry Carlyle. Carlyle convinced her to join the initiative as the Hyperion's physician. Although there was some confusion around assigning an Asari to the human arc, Lexi's credentials and expertise in alien anatomy quickly silenced any concerns. By her own admission, Lexi is a workaholic. On or off the table, I have a hard time not dissecting people, figuratively, of course. One of her many goals in Helios is to improve her bedside manner and learn to appreciate the moment. Okay, Lexi. I'll do my best to help you with that goal. Nakmor Drak. As verified by Nexus records and his own claims, the Krogan mercenary Nakmor Drak is among the oldest beings to join the Andromeda Initiative. He originally traveled on the Nexus along with many other members of Clan Nakmor, but left after the Nexus uprising. Born on Tuchanka around 700 CE, holy shit, he's old. Drak was a young warrior when the Krogan rebellions began in earnest. He and his Krant accounted for over 200 kills, which, Drak claims, includes 3 of the then newly founded Council Spectres. After the Solarian-designed Genophage ended the rebellions, various bounties and military bulletins showed Drak chose a new path as a pirate and soldier of fortune for whatever conflicts came his way. Over centuries of fighting, multiple injuries required several of his limbs and organs to be replaced with cybernetics. Eventually, Drak says, his search for one last horizon brought him to Andromeda. Drak did not travel alone. He accompanied most of his clan to Andromeda, including granddaughter Nakmor Kesh and clan leader Nakmor Morda. Kesh and Drak maintain a close relationship, exchanging regular messages no matter where their duties in Helios take them. That's really cute. Sam. Hey, Sam wrote his own Codex entry. Self-examination being important for sentient beings, I was encouraged to write this entry by Alec Ryder. I am a simulated adaptive matrix, SAM, a new generation artificial intelligence. Unlike most AI, I link to a neural implant that gives me access to my host's sensory and emotional responses. Put simply, I have a direct understanding of the human experience, which allows me to grow beyond the bounds of logical programming. In return, I lend my quantum computing power and rational analysis to a Pathfinder's mission. I am physically located in a server bank installed in SAM node aboard the Ark Hyperion, but quantum entanglement technology allows instant communication anywhere. In the event of catastrophic injury or death, protocol dictates that my command access be transferred to the next Pathfinder candidate in line. Alright. Okay, here's one on my brother, Scott. Born your younger twin on the Citadel space station in 2163, Scott grew up knowing the station was a gateway to the entire Milky Way. In his orientation interviews, he claims this fostered a longing to step through those gateways to adventure. With informal training aided by Alec Ryder's N7 background, Scott joined the Systems Alliance military and was assigned to an outpost near Arcturus Station overseeing Relay 202. A primary route to Arcturus, this mass relay leads into contested space and has an unsavory reputation. Scott was needed to protect Arcturus, but also had a front row seat to everyone else going off to fortune and glory. When Alec Ryder was dishonorably discharged due to his AI research, internal memos show that this also effectively ended Scott's career, making Andromeda a more attractive option for the adventure he sought. So as I suspected, pretty much Alec Ryder got dishonorably discharged, and that fucked up Scott and Sarah's lives. On arrival in Andromeda, Scott's cryopod was damaged and his revival process interrupted. Dr. Lexi Tapero advised keeping him in a medically induced coma to allow him to awaken naturally, so he's still in that coma. Thanks, Scott. So Alec Ryder was born on Earth in 2129. Says his love of New Frontiers was fostered by a childhood in the Sierra Nevadas. According to his service record, he joined the Alliance military and was eventually assigned to John Grissom's historic expedition through the Charon Relay. His experience made him a candidate for what would later be known as N7 training back on Earth, where he met Dr. Ellen Harlow. After their marriage, Alec continued military service, most notably on Shanxi in the First Contact War against the Turians. Assigned as military attaché to the Citadel in the late 2160s, Alec became interested in artificial intelligence as a means of human advancement. His pursuit of this illegal technology led to a dishonorable discharge from the Alliance military. Contacted by the Andromeda Initiative, Alec found a sponsor to help complete his work. I am the product of that research, assisting not only the initiative, but Alec's new role as a Pathfinder. And of course, soon after our arrival in Andromeda in 2819, Alec Ryder died during operations on Habitat 7. Damn you, Alec. Cora, Lieutenant Cora Harper, service number 6002AC1762, is a human biotic and formerly an officer in the Systems Alliance military. Her screening interviews state she was raised in poverty on an independent cargo freighter, joining the Alliance at 18 to obtain training for her powerful biotic abilities. However, Cora claims her superiors saw her talents as a liability, supported by test scores showing her abilities spike at abnormally high levels. She was transferred via the Citadel Council's Valkyrie program, a subset of their interspecies military integration plan, and placed with the Asari Commando Unit Talon's Daughters. Though the activities of Asari Huntresses are typically sealed for 5,000 years, Cora has freely shared her experiences on the record: peacekeeping, counterterrorism, and hunting fugitives. When she left Talon's Daughters for the Andromeda Initiative, no reason is recorded. Cora's Huntress training and biotic capability made her a candidate for Alec Ryder's second-in-command and, if warranted, his successor as Pathfinder, which she did not do. Liam Costa is a human security and crisis response specialist with civilian tactical training. His screening interview states that he was born on Earth, but his parents specialized in interplanetary policy law, and the family moved frequently. Their primary residence was split between London and the Citadel. Liam entered university for engineering, but left to train for law enforcement. Though initially driven, he was only briefly stationed as a police officer and described leaving as a necessary move for all concerned. He transitioned to the multi-species effort of heavy urban search and crisis response. If Liam was disillusioned in law enforcement, service records show that was not mirrored in crisis response. The human contingent, Heavy Urban Search Terrain 1, reported that Liam performed exceptionally in all conditions. Liam says that this is when he learned of the Andromeda Initiative after meeting former Alliance personnel at a post-hostility relief action, so a kegger. His multidisciplinary skills set him apart, and Liam was handpicked by Alec Ryder to support the Pathfinder team. Ellen Ryder. Okay, this is my mama. Ellen Ryder, formerly Harlow, was a pioneering designer of biotic implants. In the 2150s, she was a leading biomedical and cybernetic researcher at UFRJ in Rio de Janeiro. When human biotics began to emerge as a scientific field, Ellen found possible applications for her work in neurointegrated wetware. Her early designs for biotic implants formed the framework for later L2 and L3 models. Ellen met Alec Ryder when he was posted to Rio for ICT or N7 training before the First Contact War. She eventually joined Alec on the Citadel when he was posted there as military attaché and gave birth to fraternal twins on the station in 2163. Unfortunately, Element Zero, the catalyst for biotic mutations, is a hazardous material, poorly understood in the early years of human biotics. After repeat accidental exposures, Ellen eventually developed a terminal neurodegenerative disorder, later known as AEND. In her final years, Ellen Ryder built what would later become the Pathfinder implants, designed to sync with the AI partner Alec Ryder was developing. Ellen died before my creation was fully realized. My mama! Let's see. The initiative. Holy shit, there's a lot of stuff in here! So yeah, the Nexus Uprising, that book is actually out right now. I'll probably pick it up. I might actually do the audiobook, because the audiobook is read by Sarah Ryder's voice actress. Jean Garson was the eccentric millionaire genius behind the Andromeda Initiative, who died pretty early on. So that's cool. Kandros and Tan, that's good. I'm not going to go through all of these right now. I might later. We know about AI partners, the role of Pathfinder, sure. Okay, the journey so far. Let's see. So this is just a review of what we've done so far. During your trial by fire in Habitat 7, you tried to initiate peaceful first contact with the Ket despite their hostility. Explored an alien laboratory, found a cave full of plant life that survived from the planet's Golden World era, discovered an alien shuttlecraft of unknown origin, rescued Greer from his captors, and expressed doubts about accepting the role of Pathfinder. I explored and reactivated a mysterious alien vault apparently designed for terraforming, bringing the hope of new life back to Eos. Despite the potential Ket threat, you guided the outpost on Eos on a mission of peaceful scientific exploration of the Helios cluster. You damn right I did! So this is just more various stuff, just little bits about my crew that I already know. Okay, this is one of my favorite bits of the Codex, actually. Ongoing psych profile for my character, Ryder. So this is how the game keeps track of basically the tonal, like the dialogue choices that I make, the different tones that I use. From the files of Tempest physician and psychologist Dr. Lexi Tapero. Ryder, as part of my assignment on the Tempest, I'm required to send a psychological assessments to, that's a typo, to Pathfinder HQ. I'm sending you my notes. After all, you should know what I'm telling them. I've only known you a short time, and so this is just my initial take. Enjoy. Okay, so what have I got? Shows high levels of empathy and expresses passionate opinions. Boom. Keeps a sense of humor and rarely takes things seriously. Boom. Impulsive actions often speak louder than words. Boom. So, yes. Very empathetic, passionate, has a sense of humor, somewhat impulsive, sometimes jumps before she thinks. I'll be required to update them and send a more in-depth report later. Thanks, Lexi. So yeah, and this is just the bit about the family stuff, the ties that bind. Okay. Good. Now, holy shit, I have a lot of stuff. In the journal. Right. I have to go back. I'm gonna go, I think what I'm probably gonna do, oh, right, I have to get the hijack still. That's the ongoing search for memory triggers. There's Nakmor Drax quest that he wants me to do on the Nexus, and the general sort of missing arcs thing that's probably going to be stuck around. This is all I've finished, which is good. So I think probably what I'm gonna do is I'm on the Tempest right now. Fusion mod. Okay, interesting. Lord, I found a lot of I got a lot of blueprints and stuff. Ugh. Oh my god. Did I get them all? Okay. Whew. Right. I got some nice mod blueprints for the Nomad. I'm kind of obsessive about this sometimes, where like I feel like I have to go through and like so I have Adept now. I have Adept, Soldier, and Vanguard profiles unlocked. Oh, yeah, PB, you still have 1 skill point. Damn it, I'm not gonna be able to get rid of that. I have everything. Okay. So, I think for what I'm gonna do, is... oof. I'm gonna do some scanning of the system, I think, while I'm here.